Yes.
So how about this? Would you be interested in moving in together to save money on bills?
I don't know. We've talked about this before, man.
Oh, God. That's
I think that you and I have a relationship built on very tenuous love.
Right.
And I think that we could be at each other's throats in no time.
Right.
And it would be mostly me. I know who I am. You would be fine, but I'm a dick, and I have no tolerance for anybody because I have some kind of antisocial disorder or something. So
it's nice to know you haven't changed in all these years. That is so refreshing. It really is.
What is your name, young lady?
My name is Susan Saiger, and I'm so happy to be with you two tonight.
Right. So how about this?
Susan
on the program.
I am so happy to see you.
Program.
I am still not 100% sure. So you just said that you've been in LA for 7 years.
7 years as
But I
August.
know I've seen you several times in the last 7 years.
Oh, sure.
So, like, you're here all the time.
Well, and especially now that I have a grandchild. Yeah. But yeah, Aneri and I would do shows, and it's really weird because a year ago I did a show for Michael Murillo at the Carrollwood Cultural Arts Center, and with Helen Keeney. And when I walked backstage, she looked at me. She's a host on.
I think I know who she is, but I just remembered.
She's a headliner. She's really funny.
Easily in the last 7 years, we did a show at the Chase Club.
Oh yeah, probably for sure. Yeah. But anyway, this was just last year, and she looked at me and she goes, "Oh my God, you're just what they're looking for on Home Shopping Network." I go, "What are you talking about?" She goes, an older chick, you've let your hair go gray, but you're still kind of, we don't say gray, we say silver.
Oh.
I'm a silver belle.
Right. Oh, okay.
It looks platinum. I'm like Blondie.
Right. It's the same way as his hair didn't go gray. He's a silver fox.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Silver fox for sure.
I'll be,
For sure.
Well, in all fairness, I found my first gray, white, whatever when I was like 14.
Me too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is why it was taking me so long. I had to do my roots every 10 days.
It's really
That is some white hair.
Right.
I'm not real sure what's happening up here with me because I definitely have streaks of it, and if you get me in the right light, it's like, who the hell's that old guy?
Yeah.
But
it happens.
Are you sure you have enough left?
Oh, you motherfucker! I will come across this table. I will bite your throat out. You son of a bitch!
All right, Jason Alexander.
I don't know. This is a sword fest of sorts. But look at this. See, right around my hairline is still. Most people get gray temples.
Right.
And mine's still dark.
My family, like my uncle, was Snow White when he was like 30.
I must have been. I just didn't know it.
Right. So I'm kind of in that same boat too, of like you two guys, where I started discovering real young that I had like gray, starting to get gray in my facial hair. And
that happens first, I think.
Yeah. Like I was confused because I was like 14, 15 at the time, and I talked to my doctor, and he was like, "Oh, well, like you have high blood pressure. It's probably."
At 14, you had high blood pressure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have like a heart condition. What
do you have?
I no.
Okay.
We're not doing that.
Because I have mitral valve prolapse. I know I don't say it right ever.
No.
Whatever that is, I have that. My fucking doctor. All right, check this out. About 3 years ago, I go in for my regular heart. I'm a Dempsey. We like to have heart attacks. Check it out, doc.
Okay.
They do the sonogram on the chest thing, and he goes, "Dude, one of your valves is like moving over and eating the other valve. Like my heart was eating itself. Like one of my valves was reaching over into the other valve."
How long ago was this?
It was like 3 years.
See, so before you found love, your heart was literally eating itself
alive. That's
right?
so poetic.
That's such a woman's perspective, but that's why I'm here.
Dude, that would make for such a great Christmas album. Just your face, like made up from like Grinch man. Like the sonogram of your heart.
That's true love.
So we do the thing.
It's like the Grinch whose heart grew that day. I'm sorry, guys.
It's fine. We do that thing where they put the scope down your throat, they knock you out, and put a scope down your throat.
I just had that done in L.A. It was quite lovely.
It's great.
It's a beautiful.
I felt like a sex toy. They put that O-ring in your mouth.
I was about to say.
I know that.
I was about to ask, did it take you back at all?
Yeah, very, very much.
She's like,
so.
I remember the 70s.
Yeah. The 70s.
80s.
She remembers yesterday.
Yeah.
So I come out of it, and he's like, hey, everything's great. Like, he never told me any specifics. He just told me, everything looks fine. And ever since then, I go in once a year, I do stress tests, I do this, I do the radiation up the arm thing, Last time I went and saw him, I had done a stress test, I go in there, and he's like, hey, your stress test looks great, everything's great, I just keep hearing how everything great is. And then he just goes, so we're going to have to get in there one day and open that, and fix that valve. And I'm like, excuse me, what? He's like,
didn't we tell you?
Yeah, he's like, open heart. And because I'm going, like, are you talking about, like, and he goes, yeah, open heart. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, and he's just so cavalier about it, as if, like, I had already known.
They're going to replace an artery with one out of your leg.
Well, it's the valve itself is the problem. So
they can fix anything.
Well, and he's talking about it in this way of, like, well, here's the other thing that's confusing. He's talking about it in a, like, we'll deal with it when we need to.
Eventually.
So it's like, well, when do I know when you need to? Is that when I'm on the verge of death?
Well,
is that what I'm supposed to
when
do?
the check engine light comes
You know
on.
what? You just take that as a gift and go, you know what? I don't have to worry about that right now. Right?
I guess.
So, yeah, look at it.
But
the
also
glass
now-
is half full, right? Am I right?
That's
My body,
very true.
this guy knows, my body is falling. I'm 40, but my body is 80. I am falling apart.
Really?
So there's
That's
other...
why I don't date older dudes. That's why I don't date anymore. Because it's
No
like,
no 40-year-olds?
I'm not
Fuck 40.
taking care of these old motherfuckers. Yeah, is there a language thing?
No,
Oh my
we
God,
know.
you have offended everyone.
Okay, no, I'm not
all
taking
12
care of
of
some
our
old
listeners.
All
motherfucker.
12, yeah. I think our highest downloads are like 16. We got like 16.
Okay,
You
there
know.
we go.
No big deal. No one to brag.
You're making it then.
We do have one listener in Canada.
Oh, that's
All
great.
I'd like, hi Canada, guy
Canada.
or gal, or maybe neither. Hi Canada, non-binary.
Yeah.
Right? We're very progressive
How?
in Florida. Of all
I
places.
just had a non-binary voice audition.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either. I don't either. But it was for some like cartoon where the character's a non-binary innkeeper, and like all these people are drinking, and she or he or it morphs into a wolf, and yeah, and then you have to like change.
So not a children's show.
But no, it's an adult. I don't even know. They don't tell you anymore what it's even for.
So she might have just gotten the audition for She-Ra because they were just talking about
Teen Wolf? I don't know.
No, they were just talking about introducing a non-binary wolf character.
No
on
kidding.
She-Ra.
What?
Yeah.
That? What is that?
Susan, you might be on She-Ra and don't even know that you're on She-Ra. That's amazing.
No, I mean, you know what I made a choice from with the voice? It was funny because when you think of a wolf, you know, and morphing, I think that the visual should be the clincher and that the vocal should just enhance the visual because shape-shifting is a big thing, I would, visually.
Sure.
So I got the cue from my granddaughter who started growling. And so I did it very understated and quiet because I figure, the morph would happen, and that's,
This is awesome.
So it was, but it was really fun. I mean, I made a choice, and just, went with it. But maybe wouldn't that be funny if that's the same thing? I mean,
It'd have to be.
It's
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it was on Actors Access, but the age, I think, because I get a lot of weird stuff now because I'm auditioning for older and older parts.
Well, let me ask you something.
Okay.
So, as a woman who's, you're not 20. I'm trying to be kind.
Right.
you're not 20.
I'm not 50.
But
honey.
you're also, you've always been groovy, and you've always been like someone that I felt like was connected to what was happening today.
Well, okay.
Do you disagree?
No, I mean, because I think that's part of the artist, whatever that means, thing, mentality is that, writing comedy, which I consider an art form.
Sure.
And I'm sure, you guys agree with me.
I think no one at this
No
table,
one at this table
agrees with me.
We don't appreciate comedy at all.
No. So, so I think that's a different way. I think it takes a different kind of spirit. And it's funny because, like, sometimes in LA now, and especially when I go and do a show in Hollywood, I just got invited to do a great show. Andy Southern and Friends. He's an up-and-coming comic, and he's really funny, and he's like 24. And he invited me to be one of his funny friends.
That's great.
And right. I'm 64 now.
Right.
Will you still need me? Will you still? Apparently not. So we got over that shit real fast. But so I go in front of an audience, and it's all millennials,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have. They're a great audience for me. There isn't. When I get on stage, and when I talk, like it's like it's not about an age thing, and it's about funny's funny. You know?
Well, what I wanted to ask you is, this is a hacky question, but like, as someone who's mellow and groove, you were 26 when you were in Eating Raoul, that movie?
Yeah, I think so.
And you played a dominatrix?
Doris the Dominatrix.
So
I still do autograph signings.
That's great.
Stuff. Isn't that people want to know how we did it?
The reason why I bring that up is it's when you look. Okay, you have talking heads in their 30s railing against non-binary and transgender. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like it is a seismic shift that is going to take a long time for people to catch up to. And as someone who's playing a dominatrix at 26, 40 years ago,
38
not completely 40, but
yeah.
Like, when you see that landscape, when you see people start talking about non-binary, and you see people talking about gender fluid, and
it's very different.
Do you just shrug your shoulders and go, "What the fuck"? Do you have any internal, like, I don't know about all this?
I know, in my day it was bisexual.
Right.
Now I know it's all gender fluid, and and I work with another gal, Jennifer Valley, who's really funny. She's a cool mom. We're the cool moms, and we talk a lot about. She talks a lot about that kind of gender fluid stuff. She has 2 daughters, and I have 3 kids, 2 of whom moved out to LA with me. But anyway, I forgot what the question was.
I'm just.
I got stoned.
It's not really a question.
I feel like that should be the tagline for our episodes going forward. I forgot the question.
Susan Saiger, I forgot the question. No, it's just it's not so much a question as much as it is just a perspective thing, where the idea of people getting rooted in, like, this is the way I see things. And you would normally tag someone in their 60s as, I'm stuck in my ways.
Okay,
this is how I see things. Let me tell you a
little story. My dad went to school with Andy Warhol.
Wow.
And they were in art school together. And my dad said this was 40, I don't know, a couple years after the war ended. And Andy was a few years younger than everybody else. And they had to do a project at school one day, a self-portrait in black and white and one other color. And, get the different tones and shapes of the face and whatnot. So my dad said everybody hung their self-portrait up. Oh, there's so-and-so. And there was one, nobody knew who it was. Andy had done himself as a woman.
Mm.
Okay, this is like 1948, right. 47, And me growing up, I grew up in Miami Beach. And my dad was a designer on Design Row. So it was very much like Mad Men around my house. Like, my parents were kind of those kind of real early 60s beatnik kind of characters. Right. And so, like, one of my parents' best friends were Uncle Bill and Auntie Ray, and they were 2 men, and there was no gay marriage back then, but
they still called the poor guy Auntie.
Auntie Ray. Well, we knew who we
poor
were.
Auntie Ray.
But you know what? I would draw pictures for them for their refrigerator, just like, it wasn't weird to me. So maybe that's part of it. I never had a filter on that stuff growing up.
Well, that's always been the thing, right? Is like, it's whoever is the parent is the person that teaches that kind of ingrained sense of, like, men are men, women are women, no son of mine will wear a pink tutu or whatever.
Yeah, right. But
like, it doesn't matter what era you're in.
Right.
If your parents are just like, hey, who cares? Right?
That's how they
then
are.
It's usually the kid grows up to be like, who cares?
Right.
And just over time.
And my son's very conservative, which is weird.
That is weird.
It is really weird. And and his the mother of
socially conservative, like anti this, anti that?
No, but just in his thinking, and I do a joke. I can't do the joke here, but I can do it in LA where I go, I wish he was a junkie because there's no fucking rehab when your kid's a Republican. You're just stuck with that shit,
Right.
And but here you'd get booed. That's the thing. Anyway, I was talking about Helen Keeney. So tomorrow I have an audition for HSN because anyway, I walked backstage that night to do this show, and she looked at me and she goes, "You're exactly what they're looking for." I go, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "They want an older host at HSN, somebody who's not had a lot of plastic surgery, but still looks okay." And I was dressed nice. I had the outfit on, whatnot. I don't dress in a little party dress anymore. I got rid of that shit a long time ago. But anyway, when the audition came up, I got a call. So I'm auditioning for Aneria's shooting my tape tomorrow. Thank you, Aneria, for all your taping needs, by the way. If you need something...
I think she was our last guest.
Yeah, she was our last guest.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that she's, she's going to tape this audition for me. It's going to be fun, too.
That's great.
Yeah, so
and that's how Susan got to play She-Ra.
That is so fucking weird. I don't even know if I was supposed to. I can tell you who the casting director is off air, and then we'll see if it's the same person.
I can't imagine ever being in a place in my life where I'm like interviewing for a job and I don't know what I'm interviewing for.
I just wait until I'm at that point.
Yeah, let me tell you what, you guys. I just interviewed for a game show, I guess, called.
You guess, maybe.
To Tell the Truth. You know what?
I remember To Tell the Truth.
Okay, they have a new one, and Anthony Edwards hosts it, and his mama's on it.
Okay.
Or some shit, and they have celebrity guests, and so they need one person who's the actual person. Like one of the guys was the police commander who oversaw the whole slow speed chase for O.J. Simpson. Mm-hmm. That dude. Okay, and then 2 imposters. Right. So they were auditioning for imposters, and they were auditioning older chicks for whatever reason. They must have some things coming up. But it was one of the funniest auditions I've ever had in my life because I really didn't understand what it was for, what they were doing. Although they were showing it in the lobby so that you could kind of see what the deal was. And when I went in, she just started asking me questions, and I just riffed with her, and that was the audition.
That's great.
That's the beautiful thing about Hollywood.
I'm so un-Hollywood though. It's weird.
Well, it's just the notion of like Hollywood's the one place where it's like you're just make-believing, and someone goes, "That was great make-believing. Here's a check."
Right.
You made believe better than the other.
Well, that's like this Home Shopping Network thing. They want to know, so I get to pick 2 products that I want to talk about. And and why I love it and what it changed. So I picked a few things, and then they want you to tell a little bit about yourself, which has never been hard for me. So it's just going to be the kind of thing where. But anyway, when I submitted for it, I said Helen Keeney, who's one of their big hosts now. I said Helen Keeney said, "I'm just what you're looking for." What an asshole! Who would say that? Who would say that and then get the audition? Right?
So well, I think I know who.
Right. So.
But how stupid! And then I sent a stand-up. I said I've done stand-up with Helen, and she said I'm just what you're looking for. What balls?
Right. So speaking of which, you mentioned this before we started recording. Okay. I kind of have to ask you now.
Okay.
So you have a principal standpoint on Walmart that I wasn't expecting.
Oh yeah,
This
I don't
hurts.
go into Walmart.
I don't like this.
We got the Walmart in Burbank since I've moved there, and I refuse to go in. I've never been in. It's been at least 4 years, and a lot of people protested. I didn't go that far.
But you have no problem shopping Walmart in
Florida. No, I will go into a Walmart in Wesley Chapel. I will. I'm in there. I'm shopping. I'm buying Christmas ornaments for $1.98. I don't give a fuck. Okay, but in California, I won't set foot in.
So okay.
Because it just doesn't belong there.
Okay, so
it just does not belong. Well, there's a Target right.
That hurts. It hurts bad.
So well, I'm from Florida, so it's like I apologize for you fuckers every single day. You understand this? And all of us. There's a lot of I was telling you guys earlier. There's a lot of comedians from Florida out in LA that are doing well. Like do you know Sandro? Do you remember Sandro?
I don't know that name.
I think he left with Jessica Michelle Singleton, but he's now a regular at the Comedy Store. Started at Side Splitters.
Nice.
We've had. It's been a while since I've been in the scene, but I mean, it's not uncommon for occasionally talent scout people to like swoop through because they hear stories about Tampa. Like there's a thing going on in Tampa. They'll swoop through, see a few people, go back home. You know, that does happen.
I got a bunch of people seen for America's Got Talent a few years ago because a friend of mine was casting it.
Yeah. One of our other guests, Clark, it's kind of funny.
Preacher's doing well.
Preacher was
I've run into
good.
him. I've done shows with him at Flappers.
Yeah.
He's really, I mean,
he's great.
He deserves it. He's cool, and so are his friends.
He's real sweet too.
Two of the guys on the scene. One of them just moved out to LA. But there was a kid named Kyle Neely, I think his name was.
I don't think I knew him.
And Clark Brooks, who's still in the scene now. But both of them got credits from America's Got Talent because Clark was in the commercial.
Oh, good.
And so was Kyle, where Clark just he's like watching it and his hair piece just gets blown off.
Wow.
And so, like, I could not stop laughing because he posted that scene up on Facebook and he's like, well, this is how you get a TV credit. And at first I was laughing. I was like, and then I was like, oh, yeah, that is how you get a TV
work
credit.
off of it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. If you've got an AGT is more like Vicky Barbalock. I think she was the older chick from San Diego a couple years ago that made it pretty darn far. Enough to where it really made a difference in her career. And it will do.
Have you seen we have a friend who he's on Netflix in the audience asking a question that I'm not going to say his name on mic, but we have a friend, his Netflix premiere, he's in the audience at a show,
right? And
he gets asked a question, so he's on mic, face on camera,
okay.
And now like on his posters he has like from Netflix, and he says his name, and it's like,
God.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
but at the same time, if that's what gets you in the door, I can't say I wouldn't do it myself.
But here's the thing, I don't know what gets you in the door. I think it's such a fluke that. I've always just been grateful for anything I've ever gotten.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because there's the stars are against it and for it, and there's just no rhyme or reason to it.
Well, it's like it's that whole thing of like 1% of people will be successful out there.
Right.
So if you
or even ever work.
Right.
I'm not even talking about successful, but even like I'm an almost was, because I stopped right at the when I was really starting. I'd finally gotten a good agent. I didn't have an agent when I did Eating Raw. It was like that girl.
So you went. That was the question I was going to ask you. So you did Eating Raoul, and you did like 1 or 2 other movies around that time, and then
3 other movies.
You had your kid. Yeah. I'm guessing, and then there's like there's a pretty big gap.
I was I had just gotten a big agent, and I was sitting at a pilot audition for casting at one of the networks. In 80, no wait, he was born in 91, the end of 91, so this was 1992 because I was still nursing and stuff, and I had him in my infant carrier, and I had my sides, and they were still crisp and white, and I hadn't even really looked at it, and I just kept looking at him, and then I went, oh God, but I should really read this before I go in, but there's my kid, and I just went, fuck it, and I went up to the desk and said, thank you very much, but I think I need to go. There's, my baby needs to, so thank you, but I'm going to cancel out.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to be shitty.
Yeah.
And I worked so hard to have a career, that I didn't want to go out because I was, because I couldn't wrap my head around an audition. And that was, what we were talking about earlier. It wasn't really a decision. It was just, I decided I would rather be a mother then keep auditioning. This is both. Maybe I'll get something, maybe I won't, but I don't know. I knew I couldn't do both, and I knew I was breaking up with the dad, so I knew that it was on me to support the baby and all that stuff. So
it's a great principled stance to take, and I highly applaud it. The question
it wasn't even that though. That's what I wanted. I found out that he was here, and I was. Well, hallelujah. I never thought I could, to be honest. I'd been trying not to for so long. That are you kidding me? I was 36 already.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people out there who would have just been like, I can take the baby with me to audition.
I wasn't at that level. I really, I was, the baby was with me at audition, and I realized I didn't give a shit about the audition.
Wow.
Right.
It just, my priorities totally changed. And that's when I decided I've worked too hard. I can't do that to myself. Yeah. It's not, and I never regretted it, and I don't think I ever, took it out on him or anything like that, because it was the right choice. And then I adopted the 2 girls.
Yeah, those parents are always weird. Those parents are always like just sitting down at dinner, and then the kid like knocks over glasses, like, "This is why you'll never get an agent." You're just like, "What did I do?"
No, I did what I wanted to do, and I found ways to be creative as a parent. Like you could.
Well, that was the question I was trying to get to was. So you had that break, and then you came back to it. So was there like a weird moment where you just sat down and you're like, I can do this again?
No, somebody dared me.
Somebody dared you?
You remember Gary Nager? He runs the paper, the Neighborhood News out in New Tampa. We used to call him, the Divas used to call him our paparazzi. Hi, Gary. Anyway,
Gary, you should now listen to our podcast.
Yes. Well, we'll let him know. Neighborhood
that number
News.
will jump up to 17.
They should know, because
don't forget to like,
everybody
comment,
reads
and subscribe.
Smash that like button. Hit that notification bell.
Everybody reads the Neighborhood News. But anyway, I forgot the question again.
It's fine.
I was meandering.
There's been a lot of marijuana flying around.
All right.
What was the question? What's happening? Where are we?
You guys don't remember.
Are we recording?
Either.
Yes.
You don't remember either.
No, it was. So what was the moment?
No,
that brought
I was
you back?
dared to do it. A friend of mine took me to Side Splitters to see a female comic, and her name was, I'll think of it. And during the show,
a very long name.
No, Mary Ellen Hooper. She's very funny.
That's how I was technically right.
And she had been in LA and then was living in Orlando, so she was working the Florida circuit. And during the show, she talked about her 2 adopted boys that were from a South American country. So she said, "Does anybody have adopted children?" So I raised my hand. She said, "Well, do they look like you?" And I said, "Well, they're from China, so no."
Yeah.
And it got a big laugh, and my friend starts nudging me. And Mary Ellen goes, "Well, we got they're from China. We didn't need some no." And then she got a laugh.
Sure.
And then, Liz really started nudging me, and her and Gary dared me to go do an open mic set at Side Splitters. And I said, one night only. I was teaching then, I was subbing, and I had, like 20 people in that little flipping room. You remember that little room?
Yeah.
That bar or whatever. It was always cold in there. That's what I remember about it.
Yeah.
But then they invited me back. I said it went great because it wasn't stand-up, though. It was a monologue. Let's be honest. Mm-hmm. It was not stand-up. It was a prepared monologue.
So that dare brought you back to the
and then I was like, okay.
When did you... I started in, I want to say it was 2010. That doesn't feel right. Maybe the late 2009.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
9, 10.
And
how long had you been doing it?
I was August 13th of 2008.
Okay, so you'd bet
a year.
You're ahead of me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, not much.
Mm-hmm.
Enough to be emceeing an open mic ahead of you.
Right.
That's really the only difference.
Right.
At that point.
Well, you were one of the, when I was, hiding in my shell in the back, there were like the seasoned comics around, and you were one of the seasoned ones.
Was?
Well, to me, because I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Well, what was good was that I had an acting background, so I felt comfortable on stage. Sure. That was the difference between me and anybody else doing it for the first time, is that I had more comfortableness. I don't know, that's not really a word, but on stage, it was just holding the mic was weird, and I went through a whole bunch of different things, like where I'd stand and just not hold the mic. I think I went a year. I would do things like for a year. One year I got stoned every night before I got on stage so that I'd slow the fuck down. Because to me, a 5-minute set is the hardest set to do.
It is a weird spot because it's not long enough.
But that's what you submit to festivals. Right. That's what you get when you get... I mean, LA is all... You can't make money in LA doing stand-up. It's all showcase. Sometimes you have to... There are the bringer shows, which I did for the first 2 years. I paid my dues there. It was like, nobody gave a fuck that I emceed at the Tampa Improv. Right. You know what I mean? It's like you're starting over.
When I haven't been on stage in 3 years.
But I was only 4 years in when I got to LA. That's not really that many.
No.
But when you go to open mics and you've been doing it 4 years and somebody else is just starting out, you will rise to the top because you've been doing it longer.
Right. Well, you've been punching a bag.
Yeah. I mean, and I put the hours in.
And you were really dedicated.
And I still do. I still go out.
Yeah. If I remember anywhere I went where there was a microphone plugged into speakers, you were there.
I was practicing my stuff. Yeah. I still do that. And that's why Jennifer and I are such kindred spirits, because she does the same thing. And she just worked on a couple of game shows back to back. That's kind of her bread and butter. America Says she worked on, that one. I don't watch the game show.
So what got you into acting in the first place?
Oh, I always wanted to be an actor. I have a degree in acting and directing from the University of Cincinnati.
Cool.
And right out of college, I got a job doing dinner theater, and so I played a couple parts. And then one of the girls that had a bigger part, got pregnant, and I said, "Well, I can do it, and you don't even need to rehearse me because I already know it." And blah blah blah. So that's how I got my union card. And I did that for almost a year. Played against Sam with Robert Morse. He was a big Broadway actor who had fallen from grace, and then he went back, won the Tony for True, and was on Mad Men. He was the old guy on Mad Men.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I want to ask you if you remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
There's a little fraternity of people. I know you were there. I'm pretty sure Gwiggy was there that night. Okay. And I couldn't remember anyone else. We were at this place called the Hip Hop Soda Shop.
I remember
First
that
of all, do
place.
you remember this? Rafiq? I'm just looking for an excuse to tell this story on the podcast.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
And
cool.
she was there that night, so that's why I'm telling this story.
That's a good excuse.
So I had been in comedy like a month, maybe 3. I mean, it had not been a while. I come in. There's this guy who's like really well dressed. It's like, he's not like in a suit. It's like street well dressed, really expensive, but looking like it isn't, And he's got like 2 cameras set up, and he's like talking to camera guy. And I'm I've been here for a month. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm terrified.
Right.
Because I'm like, this guy, there's a real guy here with like a
Do
camera
you remember
crew.
his name?
I don't remember his name.
What did? Okay.
He had like, I want to say like street gay chic is the only way I can describe how he was dressed.
Okay.
So like a sideways beret.
Okay.
Like one shoulder exposed with the long t-shirt.
At the Hip Hop Soda
At
Shop.
the hip hop, really expensive sneakers that were very colorful. So he gets he's got heavy eyeliner on. Now I'm gonna do a stereotypical. Wait, we'll get there. You'll remember this. Trust me. I'm gonna do a stereotypical gay voice because this is the way the guy talked. So I'm not trying to make fun of anyone.
Okay.
All right. So it's his turn, and I am eating my own stomach. I'm just oh god.
That's a funny visual.
He gets up there. He doesn't even tell jokes. He doesn't even do a monologue. He's just rambling.
I think I remember.
Please tell me you know where this is going.
Okay,
this guy's just babbling. It's going nowhere. You don't even know where the joke is supposed to be. What is it? He bought a film crew? What is happening?
Right.
So at some point, he starts talking about how much he doesn't like gay people. And now it's getting like, what's happening?
Right.
And then he says, and the timing on it was perfect. He goes, but the thing I can't even stand about gay people is when people think I'm gay. He says that, and the place fucking explodes. He's been rambling nonsense for 2 minutes.
I do not remember.
And then lays a bomb.
Right.
Is when people think I'm gay. And everyone fucking is falling out of their seats. And I swear to you, he starts looking confused, and he just goes, "What's everybody laughing about?"
But do you don't think that was part of it, like an Andy Kaufman-esque?
That is what you said at the time.
Is it?
Because me, new guy who doesn't feel comfortable, new guy who doesn't feel comfortable with seasoned comics, I start going, "What is happening?" And new guy grabs a napkin and starts writing notes to people he doesn't know and passing them like, what the fuck is happening? And you responded with, I think this is like an Andy Kaufman thing, and passed it back to me.
I did?
And he spent...
That's so funny.
He spent the next 2 minutes talking about how much he hates gay people, and how he and his youth pastor can't figure out why people think he's gay, and what to do when gay people approach him. It was... hands down, one of the most bizarre experiences of my life.
Here's the question. Did they laugh for the rest of those 2 minutes?
No!
Okay.
It was rambling nonsense, accidental joke, why is everybody laughing, and then rambling nonsense.
It sucks.
It was amazing.
There's somebody who's recently come on to the Tampa Bay scene who neither of you are going to know, and I'm not going to even give her the credit to give her name.
Okay.
But she's awful.
Okay.
She
I think we talked about, not on mic, but I believe we talked about this person.
She is so... The reason why she has a bad rep in the community is because she came onto the scene. First question I ever saw from her was, how can I make a clean dick joke for children?
I saw that post. That's
that sounds like a joke.
That's an oxymoron. Right there.
It was a serious question.
You can't.
It's so like that started off like this weird train of nonsense where you're like, hey, you can't be serious, right? So veteran comics at some point start chiming in, and she just starts going, you guys are haters, you guys don't know me, I got a record deal, blah blah blah. People from Orlando start chiming in where they're like, yeah, we kicked her out of Orlando.
Kicked her out of the city.
Wow.
Right.
She's no longer welcome in the city.
And then...
That's sad, though.
Right. But the icing on the cake was people were willing to give her, like, sort of a chance because they're like, maybe we're all just being mean for no reason. And then she went to a spot that regularly booked comics. And she bombed so hard that spot said, we are never doing comedy again.
Whoa, she killed comedy in that fucking room.
Right.
That's amazing.
Wow, that's sad.
That's great.
That hurts.
The reason,
ouch.
Right. The reason why I bring her up is because, like your hip hop soda shop guy, it's now become a thing where like veteran comics will see clips of her on stage, or they will encounter her at an open mic or something, and then people will film it, and veteran comics just kind of sit around going like, what is happening? Right? Well, how did we just watch 15 minutes of this terrible nonsense? And my favorite thing about that is, unlike your guy, there's no comeuppance for that guy, right? Filmed this thing, went off into the
probably never did comedy again.
Right?
Learned his lesson.
She and
You
I...
never recognize it.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
She and I are going to be on a show coming up
Oh, God.
called the Shock Value Show, where you have to wear an electric collar, and every time a joke goes bad, they shock you.
This isn't real.
This is a real
That's
thing.
an S&M show. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah,
Right.
That's something I know
Rafiq?
something about.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. This is an actual gig I got booked for.
Rafiq, don't do this.
Yeah.
I love you. Don't do this.
Right. So
No.
I'm like,
No. Don't do this. This is... Whoever put this together is a jackass. You should not validate their show. And then, you've been doing it a while, but you're sometimes you eat shit sometimes.
right? Yeah.
So don't do this.
This is just where comedy.
You have to do that.
No,
to
you
get
don't.
Better. To get better, you have to eat shit a few times. You have to.
Yeah, no, but you don't have to be pelted with dog shit every time you bomb. You already emotionally are dealing with, like,
that's true.
What are you doing? Don't do this.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta get booked somehow, right?
No, you don't.
How many minutes do you do now?
So, I mean, I'm like a feature act now, so I can do like 20 to 25.
Great.
My ego always wants to answer that question of like, I could do like a 45-minute set.
45 is a stretch for me.
Right, yeah.
Now. Because you don't get to do it very often.
Yeah,
you get to do it more
exactly.
often when you're here. That's why when I think, oh, well, if I get this Home Shopping Network gig, I have to move back.
Would you? So
I would. For that, it pays really nicely. And it's, can you imagine just getting paid to talk about use adjectives for several hours.
Lovely. That's exciting. Beautiful.
I love adjectives. I do. That's my favorite. And if somebody would want
say that in your audition. Look, I love adjectives.
I'm going to, and I'm going to say, my dad used to say I have diarrhea of the mouth, that I could talk on and on about anything, and I'm going to prove him right. Right now. I don't know.
With these sterling,
but I don't want to come back. I like where I'm living. I really do. I'm glad I went back.
But we have Walmart.
You do have Walmart.
We do have Walmart.
We have it. I just won't go to it.
Just not there. You will here.
Yeah, we'll here. Yeah, that's a Florida thing. I can't help it. When in French, there was a French. People in LA.
So let me ask you this question, right? If it's not a Walmart, right? If it was like a Publix.
Oh, Publix is the bomb. Publix is the best.
Okay, but if Publix was out there, would you go, well, Publix is a Florida thing?
No, I would go to Publix.
So what I'm hearing is you're willing to debase yourself in Florida.
No, here's the difference. Publix is a really quality store. It's a great store.
Okay.
It is.
And you are...
I go to 3 different markets every week.
At Publix.
Because, I specialty shop.
My Publix joke is that every time you check out at Publix, there's a $5 to $30 at least you're not at Walmart fee. Because Publix is absurdly expensive. It's weird how much
I feel like you haven't been to Whole Foods.
Right?
I don't even go to Whole Foods.
And things are more expensive in LA. Like just at the regular store at Ralph's, cereal was like $1 more a box than it was at Publix. Shit like that. But now you guys are catching up, even with the rents. Damn.
I know.
I was in New York City like a year ago, and
I love New York.
So, the joke of New York now is that the whole seedy part of New York is gone because it's so expensive to live. Everyone in New York is rich.
You can't be a criminal making only $5,000 in rent a month.
Right. And so it's funny, you're in an area that has kicked out that whole idea that New York used to be so real and so hard, that's pretty much gone. Everyone in New York now is pretty much rich. But then it's you still go into the stores. It's not Walgreens, it's Duane Reade, which it's still a Walgreens company. I don't know why they just call it.
Is it really?
Right.
Yeah. But it's there's a guy working at Duane Reade. And it's where do you live?
Right, yeah.
What are you doing here?
There are people that that's why families stay living together longer. My daughter finally moved out at 27 because she couldn't afford it.
Oh, yeah.
She really, it took her a while to save up the money to be able to move out, and I was fine with it. But my 21-year-old daughter still lives with me. She's not moving out anytime soon.
She says, smiling.
Yeah, that's fine. I bought a big-ass house there because the market had fallen below where it was, and so I got way more
than I expected to. It's funny that you mentioned this because this is, I guess do you want to segue into Ed, or are we gonna have enough time for
doing my thing. I'm fine. Do your thing.
So I guess we'll jump right into what's making me miserable.
Oh, I didn't know you were hanging by a thread. Yeah. Now it is time for our running segment. Hey, Rafiq, what's making you miserable this week?
Which is poverty.
Poverty.
So I keep on making this joke because I've hit a point in my own personal finances where it's I can be idle or I can be rich. I just can't be both. Right? And I'm way ahead of the curve, right? Because I was already planning to retire at 45 to just be I don't have to ever work again. You keep your peasant jobs, done, due to some investments coming in early, I can actually retire in 3 years if I can save up.
How old are you?
I'm 31.
Yeah, that's very young.
So if I can save up another $15,000, I'll have a year's worth of expenses in case of an emergency. But I should be able to live just the rest of my life off my investments, just skimming a little off the top and just woo, right? The thing is, in order to hit that $15,000, right, still got to earn that money somehow. And I keep on looking around at jobs here in Florida, and it's every job is so questionable. of like, oh yeah, we're gonna pay you like $17 an hour, and you're like, oh really? It's like, yeah. Did we mention that we're a marketing firm? So you mean sales? Yeah, not really. And you're like, okay, so what do you do? It's like, well, you're in the process of convincing people to
purchase an item.
Right.
I sold office supplies when I first moved to LA.
Right. And I got nothing against that, but it's just like every decent job in Tampa, it seems, is like, hey, you want to work in a career field where it's like, this is next to criminal? Do you want to work in a career field where like it's sales, but we refuse to call it that? You're a marketing mentor. You're part of a marketing coach.
What's making you the most aggravated about all
the
this?
thing that's making me the most aggravated is like the job I'm at now, right, is kind of like a net zero balance for me every month. I make as much money as I do
as it takes
on
to
the
live.
bills,
Okay.
right? I'm just looking for like a little bit more, because if I can just hit that next number up, right, I should be able to in 3 years save up $15K, and then I can just be like, whoop, see you guys never again. I will never wake up at 8 a.m. in the morning.
You
to
can't
go
retire on $15K. What world are you living in?
It's not just that. I need the additional $15K because where I'm at in my assets, that $15K brings me up to like 45.
I see.
And that's enough for right now where I go. If something happens, like if I lose
I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
If I lose all my money in the stock market, I can just go, okay, I got a year. I got a year to figure this out.
At 31, I would have been comfortable with that. But
I
now I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
It's just boggling.
It's not enough.
He lost me 5 minutes into that. I don't know what numbers and money are.
Oh, that's my day job. I have a day job. I do taxes.
Oh, okay.
For the entertainment industry.
But that's my point. Like, my thing is, like, I'm not searching for a lot out of life, per se. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to be super wealthy, because, like, when I was a kid, my family was, and it sucked. Right? Because, like, all those people are, like, just shallow douchebags who are just dick-wagging to be like, oh, well, I built this house in a tree because my son mentioned this and I'm an architect. And I'm like, fuck you, I'm 9 and I know that's douchey. Like, and it's just like, there's this weird gap that I've noticed in America, and it's just making me fucking miserable every day this week.
This is what's bugging you this week.
Yeah, because it's like, there's this weird gap of like, there's a lot of people who they just need just to like step higher in order to live a decent life. And no one's getting that anymore.
I am currently in the process of begging. Listen to this. This will piss you off. I go to my people above me and I go, I need more money. And they're cool about it. They're like, here's what we got to do to get you more money. They were like, it's the 2 guys who work directly above me, and they're really grounded dudes, and they weren't blowing smoke. They were like, we can't just give you the money. We have to convince this guy. They gave me the names. They told me the titles. We have to convince these 3 people. Then they told me, like, here's the cap of what your position is. Mm-hmm. So we probably can't give you money where you are, but if we add a new title and give you, like, manager, then we can, move you up. And so now we're, like, literally building a manager position together, where we're like looking at my current job title, seeing what could be added to that and what we could argue that you're already doing, right?
You got a game plan in place.
Yeah, here's where it gets awesome. The day that we are getting ready to submit this, our head department person gets fired that day. So then above them, like, vice president person gets acting head just to have someone in that position. So they're like, okay, well, we can go to this guy, and it'll be even easier because that guy's already overwhelmed, and he'll probably just stamp whatever we put in front of him. And right when they do that, they fill the position. So now they have to swing that proposal now to new person who is learning how to do the new job and having people knock on her door and go like, approve all these new positions.
Right.
So it's been like 2 months or something.
Clusterfuck.
Yeah.
It is. That really is.
They do the same thing at my job too. Like, I've gotten to the point where I'm applying for positions in the fucking company that I know I'm not gonna get because I go, it's an exercise in futility, but fucking exercise is good for you. Like, I know I'm not gonna get this job. Let me just work on my interview skills. So
That's
that way
every audition.
Yeah.
That's every audition. Everyone.
That sounds so. That's what I'm saying. It's like that's why I want to retire because I go. I don't want to be fucking wealthy. I don't care about wealth. I just want to get into a point where it's like, what are you doing this weekend?
How do you have fun? What do you like to do to have fun?
I love comedy.
Me, stand-up's fun.
Right, exactly.
And acting is fun. I love doing it.
Exactly, and that's where I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
I want to get to the point where it's like, what'd you do this weekend? I entertained like 90 people at a comedy club out in fucking Ohio, wherever, and then they gave me money, but I don't necessarily need that money, in order to survive, right? I'll take it.
Right.
But I mean, at the very least, though, you can devote your time now to doing comedy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, which
that's the thing I miss by having a day job is that I can't write. I think having a granddaughter was a little distracting with that too, but she's given me a lot of new material. I'm just
right, but that's what I'm saying is like
life does.
Right, life has this unique way of just going like, you want this thing? You want this thing? Fetch, and you're like, oh, what the fuck, man? Like,
well,
it's true. I just started acting again. I got to play my dream part.
What was that?
A 60-year-old hooker.
All your life you wanted to play a 60-year-old hooker.
A hooker. I've never played a hooker before, and it was really interesting because I didn't want her to come from a place of like neglect or abuse or something. I wanted her to be a powerful hooker.
The thing I love the most about how you explain that is not the notion of like age has any relevance to the part.
It has a lot of relevance.
No, what I'm saying is like it didn't matter if she was like 35 or like 45 or 65. You just knew you wanted to play a hooker in a powerful position in life, and I go like, that's kind of fucking rad.
It was fun.
You can achieve your dreams, kids.
In Tonopah, Nevada, I have a non-disclosure agreement on that. And we filmed.
So you're talking about it on a microphone.
But they don't. I'm just not giving the details of what it is. But which is fine. But there were some Nickelodeon stars involved in it that were, are kind of back in the scene now. So
and they all played hooker.
No, things are being timed, and it was a heist. It was a web series about a heist, and my character was like this.
You're getting so much closer to saying things you probably shouldn't be saying.
Okay. And she was the hooker with the heart of gold. It was fun to play, and but I didn't know, like, there was some lines and stuff. So we go to this place, Tonopah, Nevada. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
Me neither. It's the most haunted town in Nevada.
Okay.
It's where the lady in red was murdered at the hotel where we filmed.
The lady in red.
The lady in red. And there's ghosts there's different ghosts, children ghosts on the 3rd floor, and the lady in red's on the 5th floor. It's only 5 floors, the hotel. And it's very old-fashioned, old-timey. It was an old silver mine. And I think there were more miners that died in fires and mines there than like any other city, which is why it's supposed to be.
But they don't haunt the mines. It's just the lady in red.
We were in the mines, too.
Okay.
Shooting underground and doing all kinds of weird shit. So, like I said, I'm in my 60s, and I'm playing this hooker, and I'm wearing this kind of risky outfit, but she has a little flouncy skirt, and I'm doing this, like, I have to go through these laser grids, to get to a safe, because that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. And I've led everybody there, so they're counting on me, and I couldn't get the code to deactivate the grid, so I have to go in it. And so I was like channeling Lucy Liu. I don't know why her, but that's and I'm looking, I go, I gotta take this skirt off. Because it's gonna hit the lasers. I mean, I was really sussing it out in my head. I was so in the moment or whatever. I took my skirt off and flipped it, and the director almost shit his pants. But I didn't think it through because the rest of the episode I had to play pantless.
Fantastic.
Because I had shucked my skirt and I had to run down the middle of Tonopah, Nevada and dance pants, fishnets, and little like character shoes in 28 degrees.
That's in 28 degrees.
28 degrees. But I was filmed by a drone. I've never been filmed by a drone before, so I'll be interested to see how. So it was a whole lot of fun. I got to do a lot of things, and at my age, I go, "What a gift that is! That people,
Right.
you go, really? They're interested in having me in their projects, and these people wrote this part for me, and I'm really excited about it. And I did the Doll, which was another web series with them that won all these awards, but somehow has never been released. I don't know what that. They have
How do you win an
Yeah,
award
I
when
know,
you've never
right?
been released?
Because they did the festivals, the web series festivals, and I got
Wait, no, I can't.
Web series have
It's
festivals.
the Web Series Festival
Yes,
for a web series that never made it to the web.
that was never released, but filmed for the web. Yeah,
That hurts my brain meats.
I know. I agree, and I was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, and I'm like, but nobody's ever seen it.
That's weird.
So how's that happening? But it was fun. I got to be on a red carpet and do all that stuff. And it's been acting is fun. But then there's Aneria who got her SAG card right here in Tampa. You don't have to
Go to LA.
go to LA. But you know what's cool about LA? I'll be very honest with you. I love the town. Always have. Because you can just walk down the corner and you turn the corner and anything you can see anything. There's always a surprise. It's like, this is Halloween. Everybody waits for the big. So, it's sort of like you don't know, and you turn a corner and they're filming something, and then you walk into the market and you see Rod Stewart, or you know what I mean. There's just like happenings all day long that you don't expect.
Who's the guy in is his name John C. The guy in Step Brothers?
John
John
C.
C.
Reilly.
Reilly.
John C. Reilly. I'm on the phone with my buddy Drew. He was about 5-6 years ago. There was the big writer strike in LA, and he's kind of like on the phone telling me this writer strike's about to happen. He's like, I don't know if you've heard any rumblings, but things are about to get weird because we're about to have and suddenly he just goes completely silent. Hello, and he goes, dude, I'm sorry, I'm at the bank, and John C. Reilly just walked by me, and I didn't want him to hear me talking about this writer's strike. So he just
How funny.
clammed up because a superstar walked by to
Right.
go into the bank.
Was he in LA?
Nice.
Yeah, my buddy, he works for a company that's very big in LA.
Nice.
Speaking of LA, did you guys hear about the assistant strike or whatever that's going on right now?
Where?
No.
In LA.
I've been out of
there's-
touch for a whole week. I don't know what's going on.
So apparently, it's kind of funny because BoJack Horseman made a joke about this, but apparently a large number of executive assistants or whatever in LA just went on strike because they're like, we're tired of being given this assistant position.
Me too.
Which
They're
is
me
really
too
just-
to death.
Yeah, which is really just, I need you to get everything done for me for no money.
Yeah.
So they kind of went we're not doing that anymore. And the weird thing about it is they did that the week before Netflix put up BoJack Horseman, the first half of season 6, where one of the episodes is about everyone going on strike.
Oh, wow.
So it's a very weird
It's very
thing because
timely.
it's
Wow.
where it's did you guys get a preview of the episode, or was it the other way around? Somebody leaked it's hey, we're all gonna go on strike in a week, and
I would say something like that is it's just somebody seeing the writing on the wall.
right,
Somebody, even though it was 2 years ago when because
Sure.
if it's animated, they wrote it 2 years ago.
exactly,
Even though they wrote it 2 years ago,
Even-
they saw this is coming.
right.
You know what I mean?
I want to see if that's the same series you think it is.
Yeah, I mean that's
Isn't that funny?
Real quick, I think we got time for one or two.
Okay.
We've got a friend of the show that we've never met, who I'd say we have a love-hate relationship with this guy.
yeah, that's
His name is he goes by Ed the Machine Regine, and this is his album that we like to play for our guests. Do you have any reactions to what you see there before you?
I do not.
You don't? You can't even...
I can't even.
You have neither positive nor negative.
Ed the Machine Regine tells 100 of the funniest jokes he's ever heard.
Right.
That means Ed the Machine Regine did not write these jokes. These are other people's jokes. Ed the Machine Regine is telling.
That's
Do
what's
you
happening.
hear me talking now?
Yeah.
My favorite thing about this is she's the first guest to say Ed's name like 3 times in a row. Like,
Is he going to
curse.
appear? Is he going to appear?
That's what I'm saying.
Like Beetlejuice?
Yes. Oh, God, I wish. We could kick his ass. So, real quick, we've done this 100 times on the show, so we don't want to labor
Do I get
this.
to pick a joke?
Well, no, we're going in order, but he has them listed here. None
dear.
of these are actually... None of these
Oh,
track
sign.
numbers-
You have a signed
I have
copy.
a signed copy.
Right.
I do.
Okay.
All of those are out of order. So he just wrote down the names of the jokes and put them on the CD in whatever order
100
he
jokes.
felt like.
He does have 100 of the
Wait.
funniest jokes.
We've had some real miracles on the show where...
we have
What,
twice.
do I have to find which joke it is?
No, we've done 27 of these. We go in order, and 2 of them were actually listed correctly. Like, no, I think number 12 was correct, and I don't remember.
Technically, it's been 5 because we
Oh.
had the ones with John Jacob where we won,
Yeah,
and then we had the one with Tony.
that
where
was 2.
There were 2.
Okay,
with
so we're up to
John
3.
Jacob. You're right. Yeah, so it's like 3.
Okay.
So of them have been in order.
At one point, so the CD begins with some wacky music, and when we got to track like 25, track 25 ended with some wacky
It
music.
says Hitchhiker is what
Well, it wasn't about Hitchhiker.
It wasn't. Okay.
But 25 like ended with wacky music, which told us that was supposed to be the last track on the CD, but he just put it in the wrong order.
I see.
Right.
Yeah,
Should have been his closer.
it should have been the closer with the wacky music. So we do not anticipate that we will hear wacky music again,
I see.
unless the only other option is that every 25th one has wacky music because he's
Maybe,
splitting it up.
maybe.
You know.
Like Axe.
Yeah. So he's an artist.
Okay.
And this is track number 28. Would you like to
Okay.
tell us what it's supposed to be?
60 years married.
This will not be about 60 years married. This is track 28, Ed the Machine Regine.
Okay.
Oh, it's not playing. Why isn't it playing? God damn it. It's always something. I turned my volume all the way up.
Tells 100 of the funniest jokes he's ever heard. Who gives a shit at the Machine Regine?
Keep talking and see if I can get this thing moving.
God's sake. Ed the Machine Regine tells...
So
he's
we-
got stars on here. It looks like a selfie.
That's a good observation.
Right.
I don't think we've ever
really
actually
does.
talked about where the photo itself.
He just
came
put his
from.
head on some cheesy Vegas marquee looking
Right.
thing. Right?
And
with
what-
something from the movies around it that doesn't quite fit.
Right, and one.
There we go.
Here we go. This is
You got it?
Yep.
60 years married.
I was somehow connected to the wrong speakers, which I don't know what that means, but here we go. It's still not working. Why isn't the fucking working? All right, we're going to
Okay.
pause the
Well,
podcast.
It's Ed the Machine Regine.
It's the ghost of Ed fucking with us. I'm going to pause the
Ed is
podcast.
fucking with you.
Okay.
I'm going to pause the podcast. Okay, we're back. I don't know what happened. My computer didn't want to play. Now, track 28, 6 years married. This will not be about 6 years married. Go.
So this couple that's been married for 60 years.
Ed! Out of the gate, Ed. Getting it right. Getting it right. Let's start over.
So this couple that's been married for 60 years are having a friend over for dinner. And during dinner, the husband keeps saying to the wife, "Honey,
Right.
can I help you do anything? Sweetie, is there anything I can do? Baby, can I help you do something? Would you like
God.
me to do something?" And finally, the wife goes into the kitchen to clean some dishes, and the guest says to the husband, "Wow," he said, 60 years of marriage, and you still call her honey, baby, and sweetie. He says, "Shh, I forgot the bitch's name years ago, and I'm too afraid to ask her what it is."
Whoa!
Whoa,
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that language, Ed. That's why you got
Man.
the parental
That's why he's
advisory out
got
there.
he printed his own parental
That's what
advisory.
happens when you're 60 years married.
Oh,
Okay.
Jesus.
So, Susan, how did you feel about that?
I-
You got any writing critiques for all
It's
that?
not one
there?
of the 100 funniest jokes. Sorry. Sorry, Ed the Machine Regine. That is not one of the 100 funniest jokes that you were ever told. It's probably one of the 100 funniest jokes you can remember.
I love this now. The idea of Ed actually bogarting the 100 funniest jokes he's ever heard.
He selectively curated this list.
Yes, he did.
This is not fair.
And I don't think he's correct. I don't think 60 years married warrants the top 100.
Just Ed in a big...
Am I the only one?
Right. No, Ed in a big easy chair someplace. Just going like, they don't deserve these.
He might be right. He might be right about that.
It's like the joke about the parrot and the coconut. They don't get it.
They don't get that. I keep that one for me. You get nothing. You get nothing.
Okay, so that was actually 60 years married.
Shocking.
Okay.
That one was short. By the way, did anyone else notice him trying to remember the rest of the joke about halfway through? There was a pause where he was like, oh, the guy.
I thought it was like, embrace the pause kind of deal.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. I trust your opinion. Totally.
All right. Well, let's do one more, Ed.
Number 29 should be 3 roses.
3 roses.
Mm-hmm.
This woman goes into the hospital for vaginal reconstruction.
Nope.
And when she wakes up from the surgery, there's 3 roses on her bed.
Whoa!
And she asks the nurse, she says, what are these roses on my bed? And the nurse says, well, one is from your doctor for being such a great patient. And the other one is for your husband for thanking you for doing this wonderful thing for him. And the woman said to the nurse, well, what's the third one for? And she said, that's the guy down the hall in the burn unit thanking you for his new ears.
Oh, because they took the vagina and they made ears out of it.
Yeah.
That is definitely not one of the 100 funniest jokes, Ed Regine. Ed the Machine Regine.
Yeah, there it is.
Right.
That's the moment. That's what we're looking for with all of our guests. We want to see that moment where our guest breaks.
I'm incensed.
And we got you.
I'm incensed, yes. That is not one of the 100 funniest jokes that anybody's ever heard.
Here's the problem I have with that joke, right?
Oh, God.
She goes in for vaginal reconstruction
He's breaking
surgery.
it down. Listen.
So where the fuck does the extra material come from for this dude's ears?
They cut it off of her vagina, see?
If you're bringing it back together...
Hey.
You're tightening it up.
Tightening it up.
There's excess skin. There'd be excess
Is that his train of thought there? Because I'm imagining you're filling in the hole.
What, you're adding skin?
Like you got to do something to pull the walls back together, right?
I just do Kegels. I do them when I'm driving. You do a lot of driving in LA. It's
you hear that, Ed?
beneficiary.
Ed, it's not that hard.
Ed the Machine Regine, you ain't getting this.
Whoa.
You ain't tapping this. Although, I'm probably too old for him.
Oh, I don't know.
Ed,
Take a good look at
all
Ed.
Ed there.
Ed's got his veneers on his teeth.
He does have his veneers.
And he's got his selfie happening.
Ed, he's a silver fox, that Ed.
There's something kind of cheesy about Ed.
Yeah. Is there? Do you think so?
I do.
I think we have to rechange our
And
position.
there's a parental advisory on it, so y'all aren't allowed
Right.
to.
Well, that's the reason why I
Right.
use the word bitch.
Yeah,
which-
because she's parental advisory. Dirty language.
I will say this. I think we might have to rechange our position slightly on Ed.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the first 20 jokes were out of order.
Except for like 12. I think
Right.
number 12 was okay.
And I think, because this is like the 3rd or 4th time where we've been like, this is definitely not going to be
And
the
it
thing,
is.
and it's been.
Maybe.
So...
Maybe he pulled his shit together for the
The last 70. The last 75. That's where he really starts to focus in.
Right.
Oh, Ed, you suck.
Oh my god.
Well, that's how we like to end our podcast.
Oh
is
wow.
Bringing everybody down with Ed the Machine. Yeah, we really...
Well, it's been great
It goes
seeing
from
you guys.
high to low. That's what we're about.
Okay.
It's been awesome seeing you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
You, yeah.
So, before we go, is there any social media or anything you want to plug?
I'm just Susan Saiger on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, SusanSaiger, and I have a video out, Don't Silence Me. It's become the anthem of the Me Too movement, and my part was, the older chick. So hey, that's been working out great for me, actually, this older chick thing. So I'm thinking about, even trying to get an agent, because I've been getting a few jobs and stuff. Maybe if I had an agent, I'd work. I don't know. But I'm also not that motivated because I'm having a great time. I get to work fun shows. I do a show at a bowling alley and just all different places. Now, I'm not at the Comedy Store. I'm not doing the Improv. I'm not at your hip, cool places. But I'm having a good time, you know. And and I'm in Vegas every now and again, so that's fun. And I come back here to work, so you know.
All right. Hey, so find her on Facebook, find her on Twitter, find her on Instagram.
Or in Vegas.
Right.
Or in Vegas.
Or in Vegas. At Bonkers, yeah.
At Bonkers.
In Vegas, yes.
Specifically.
And you at home can find us on Google Play, iTunes, Spotify.
Wow.
I'm guessing that whoever is listening to this already found us on one of those things.
Yeah, but just tell your friends. Maybe we should tell them to tell their friends.
You should go to your friend and go, hey, so how about this?
Right, so how about this?
I'll recommend all my LA friends that come to Tampa come talk to you guys.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So how about this?
There you go. Yeah. It's all good.